All right, welcome back, everyone. God damn it, Barry. Welcome back, everyone. Going to the second half here of Drop Frames. We got 45 minutes. Kind of not enough time to probably talk about Cyberpunk, but we might have some more conversations about it next week. But before we get to that, we'll give just a couple minutes on the Game Awards. I think I was fine with everything. I think like the show in general, the balance, that it strikes between a marketing show and an award show, I think that's always at odds with one another. I think they were in a better situation on that line than they were last year. I don't think it's perfect just yet. One of the main issues I know Zeke had with it is like indie game of the year didn't even get an acceptance speech, and it was next to two other announcements like in rapid fire, and that was Hades. That was Hades' big win. The entire Hades team was not.
That's what Jesse Cox was talking about, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think so on Twitter. Yeah.
And I even Rami was on the show, and I even asked him. I was like, "Am I out of my mind, or is that?" And he's like, "No, I'm actually probably." I'm going to email Jeff and see what was up with that. That was pretty shitty. I was like, "That's like 95% of all games produced are are indie."
Yeah. And so like, I think that is that eternal that will be that show's the Game Awards eternal struggle, unless they somehow just like, all right, we're gonna go for 4 hours this year instead of 3.
Yeah. And I mean, it's even more interesting, how kind of like, and to his credit, like how candid Jeff was when he was on the show talking about like, money is an issue, like, thinking that he has to balance getting the show paid for during it.
Totally.
So you're going to have companies that really just want more time on the show to run ads and promote their stuff. And
yeah, it
makes me curious if you were to do some kind of like crowdfunding initiative, and different levels of crowdfunded could like reduce the impact of ads and stuff in the show.
Yeah, I think with crowdfunding, that's like a different entity as a whole, maybe. Is how I
True, but I mean,
that.
Especially without E3 being here, like having a show that's not just a giant commercial, I think is really lucrative to a lot of people, especially if like developers are making meaningful announcements at it.
Yeah, well, the way that I look at that is that show exists, and there are, those Oscar style shows. Even the Oscars has marketing in it, though. It's not completely void of it, but like the I don't know the names off the top of my head, but there are award shows that function in the way that you just discussed. However, the reason that the Game Awards has such significant weight to it within the community is because it's so big, because the marketing is tied to it, right? So there's a reason why it's blown up and become like the de facto award show every year, is because those marketing aspects are tied to it. So I don't know. I agree with you, but I think that something like that will rise to prominence, but it's just going to take time, right? Like it's going to have to be the 20th annual blah, 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 instead of the first annual, right? But we'll see. We'll see. I hope that there can be, and I know that there can be a place where there are multiple award shows like that. And to be honest, we're kind of already at that place. The other ones just don't necessarily have the weight to it because, they're not announcing the next Mass Effect game at that same spot, right? So, yeah. I thought the show in general was fine, though. It was weird because of COVID. I think that they did a hell of a job with the idea that COVID exists and impacted that show. The performances were really good. They had a Persona 5 performance, which was great. Eddie Vedder's performance was great. The Mario thing wasn't for me, but Eddie Vedder sang the Pearl Jam song from Last of Us 2 that Jill sings or whatever. And that was just a good performance. The ties to Last of Us were either lost on you or added to it, but in general, it was just a good performance to watch Eddie Vedder sing a song.
I like the absolutely necessary, but also pretty goddamn funny canned applause that they had.
Yes, that was weird. They definitely had some.
It's absolutely necessary, though. It has to
Yeah.
It's a it's an acting schmacting theater term called groupthink.
Yeah.
And it's about like, if you feel like you're alone, you're less apt to enjoy yourself and or laugh and or applaud or have a good time, blah, blah, blah.
That's true.
So it's absolutely necessary. And it's why they had laugh tracks back in the 50s and 60s shows and shit like that.
Yeah. And I don't think it was also like, it was there, but it wasn't. It was not there. Barry's doing some crazy shit. I don't know what he's doing.
Barry.
It was there, but it wasn't like an annoyance. The only time I
The
noticed
worst
it
part is
is
when
when
you
he
see
said
that
it.
flash, it probably means that Barry reloaded this, which probably means that he's getting ready to do something.
Probably.
So he just did the code, he inserted it, and now he's waiting for something to happen.
That's true. That's scary.
Every time I see that shit, I look to the door to see if Aiden Smith's coming to get me. Like, I just want to let you know.
It's a glitch in the Matrix. Yeah. You got to be careful. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for the update.
Yeah, it was
That's cool.
fine. I assume your chat caught you up on a lot of the announcements there, but like
Yeah.
there's the Mass
I was
Effect stuff.
getting the winners and stuff as they came in, and I heard about the Dragon Age teaser.
Yeah,
guess,
it's just
don't really
Dragon
know what
Age. They're just calling it
Yeah.
Dragon Age. They're God of Warring it.
So
Vin Diesel apparently owns Ark.
yeah, you know
That's
the
weird.
thing about stars in video games is a lot of times you have to think about how much money they're giving them, and it seems like a lot of times it's the thinking is somebody will be like, I like Vin Diesel, he's in this because he's in that, maybe I'm going to try it when I didn't. And the overlap between like Ark fans and Vin Diesel to me, that's just like wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
I never would have guessed that.
He doesn't
Yeah.
he doesn't own Ark, but he has some title that's like very verbose and definitely like top brass in that company.
Oh no, people are saying he has over 1,000 hours in Ark. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, he ran a game development studio for years, so like he knows what he's doing.
More power to the dude.
Yeah.
I just figured that he's probably pretty well compensated. I mean, he's a big name, so I'm thinking that the devs are compensating him like big time. That's just kind of a strange crossover.
Well,
It may work perfectly. It may be awesome.
I read a
Yeah.
blip that he's not even in the game. He was just in the trailer. Like he's not even going to be in the game Arc 2. He was just in the trailer. So it might just be the type of thing where they were doing that for like hype and awareness of the title.
Strange.
Yeah. He's in the anime though, with everyone else apparently out of Hollywood. Russell Crowe and Carl Urban and
Oh yeah,
Malcolm
that
McDowell
list
and
of fucking mega stars. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
That was the most fun part for me.
yeah,
for sure.
David Tennant, Elliot Page, like just a shit ton of giant stars in the Arc 2 anime. Yeah.
So, Co, this is an honest question and in no way a trap. How do you feel about The Last of Us 2 winning best game of the year?
I can't wait for our Game of the Year show.
That wraps up our
Good
discussion
answer.
on the Game Awards. Thank you guys again for talking about it.
I
That's
can't
great.
wait for the Game of the Year show because I think me and Zeke are on like similar wavelengths on that, and Co is on the opposite. So it should be, granted, their personal list, but we're gonna have to do a joint list. So I guess we'll see how that goes. That'll be, by the way, a great segue now that I've reminded myself of it. I think we're doing that show January 1st. We don't know the date just yet, but I think January 1st, which is a Friday, not normally our showtime. That might change a little bit. And if you do want to vote into the community vote, you can go over to itme.jp/2020, or I think it's droppedfram.es/2020 or /game of the year. Just go to the itmeJP or itme.jp link. That's better. Yeah.
I like that one guy in chat. Let Co answer the question. No, that was the point.
Yeah.
Is what I
Yeah.
I didn't. No, okay, real talk. Last of Us 2. I sort of addressed this on stream, but I'll just get it out.
Oh,
I mean, it was an incredible. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, technically, it was good. It did a lot for accessibility. It was gorgeous. Especially seeing other games that have come out. There's good things about it for sure. I obviously have made it clear my feelings on like the story and the progression and how they did that and how I feel there were fundamental flaws in the storytelling and such. But if you like the story, if that was not one of your issues, there you go. Like I understand why people liked it. Just wasn't my cup of tea. It was not mine.
There you go.
Yeah, it's very much like fucking, what is it? War games, like the only winning move is not to play. when you're talking about The Last of Us
I straight
2.
up told my chat the other day, it's like, hey, I haven't said anything about my thoughts on Last of Us 2 for a reason. Like, I just don't want to bring that into it. We'll wait for Game of the Year discussion. Yeah, that'll be
It'll be your Game of the Year, isn't it?
I don't know if it'll be a Game of the Year. It'll definitely be on the list. This has been a hell of a year for games. Anyways, we'll have that discussion on the 1st of January. For now, we have exactly 34 minutes to discuss the entirety of Cyberpunk. Man, of all the things I didn't expect this for Cyberpunk. Did you? Like, I kept thinking it's either going to be like, I don't know. I didn't expect this. I think
Cyberpunk.
It's crazy.
Cyberpunk is one of the biggest games to come out in a long time.
Yeah, agreed.
And the thing for me is when they delayed it that second time, as late as they did,
yeah,
and said it was for performance issues, that was my red flag.
That's true.
That's when if that's when I was kind of like okay, this is you know, with as big as that game is, you don't delay it like that unless there's something going on. So when we got closer and closer, you know, I started to think like this is gonna be like Witcher 3 but worse. This is gonna be like, my worst case was like this is gonna be like a Pathfinder release, like something bad is gonna happen. So I kind of figured it when it was coming in.
I didn't expect it to be this bad though. Like,
let's just do it. So what did you think about it? You played through the story, right?
I finished it. Co, you finished it. Zeke, have you finished it? Because then we can't really do a full on spoiler talk, and I wasn't intending to do that today, but
yeah. No, I'm the side quests are prevalent or are numerous enough and easy enough to get to, stuff like that I seriously, as soon as I was allowed to do it, that's all I did. And I haven't even progressed like one more step in the main story since I got the ability to explore the open world. So I've just been doing hours of that.
Yeah. It'll be, could you ask me what my thoughts on it? I feel like we have to at least preface it with this. We are incredibly lucky and able to play this on top of the line gaming PCs where majority of the issues that people are currently playing, especially if you're playing on those older consoles, didn't exist. So in a lot of ways, it's going to be a lopsided conversation. And I think that will reflect on how we kind of talk about it as well. Just keep in mind that like those old consoles, I think we can all agree it's a steaming pile of shit on them. Like it's a mess. Yeah. It is. Do not play them on those consoles.
It's not only
the funniest fucking memes about like, it was like on PC 3080 blah blah blah, and then it showed like on PS4 and it had like this dude playing like a penny whistle. He was like
that was the Jurassic Park meme, right? There's been a lot of those.
Fucking great.
Yeah, they're great, man. Don't play them. Don't even, man. It's got like 8 million pre-orders, and it's tough to say like, hey, don't play this on the PS4. But like most people kind of already bought it for those systems on the PS4 and Xbox One. But fuck, they are, yeah. So we did not play those versions, and I think that's going to probably affect a lot of the conversation around it for the most part. But you asked me my thoughts on it. My general thoughts on Cyberpunk are that much like The Witcher 3 for me, the story, the side characters, the writing for the most part was why I played that game to the end. The gameplay, the driving, the bugs, which I think we all still experienced regardless of what platform you played, because some of those are just platform agnostic. That stuff is where it started, like, and when I started playing the game, I could kind of like, oh, that's funny. Like, his cigarette's still in the air. That's great. But then like when you're in like the end of that story and, you know, you're fighting like the last boss and the entire fight just has the boss just standing there and you're like, oh, all right. Okay. I guess I'll just like stand here and shoot this guy until he's dead. Like, it starts to fall apart in a lot of places.
Immersion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it breaks the immersion 100%. Lyric kind of had that same point on Twitter, and I think that echoed within me. Like, it takes away from the seriousness of a lot of those cutscenes when, like, stupid shit. Like, I was flying in a car and a cutscene was happening, and it was like really, I was very invested in the story. And then we just fly into a building and fly out the other side of the building, and it's like, oh, all right. I guess we're not supposed to talk about that. Like, it just, that part, that stuff sucks. And like, it took away so much. The cutscenes where I did not have those issues, I was like fully invested in the game. I was super into it. And the dialogue and the writing was great in those scenes. And I think some of those characters in the game are phenomenal. But like, once the fucking bugs started coming into play, it was tough to be like, oh, right, okay, yeah, this is real serious. And I can see that guy's dick through his pants right now, so that's funny. Like, it just happens. So yeah, I fully enjoyed the story, even with all of that, and I thought the characters and the writing kind of carried that game. But there's just so many bugs, and it at first I didn't think it was going to take away from the game, but like the more I played it, it started to just like grate on me. Over, I think I had 30 hours, so I didn't even do all the side quests, and that's not because the writing or anything was bad. It had more to do with the fact that the game was just not worthwhile streaming. So I had to just get it off the channel as fast as possible. But I fully intend to, once they make some other changes, which we can kind of go into once I get y'all's thoughts on it, 'cause we're short on time, so I don't want to spend too much time talking by myself. But like, the fact that I can't respec stat points really bothers me. I think that is a major bummer, especially having just played Valhalla, where like, sure, I want, they want weight on those decisions, but like in Valhalla, you can change a spec by holding down X and there's zero penalty and it just takes time. And I wanted that because the more that I got into, my spec was whatever the crafting spec was. What is that? Tech?
Tech.
Yeah. I got 20 tech and like,
oh, for the record, guys, you can respec your perk.
Your perks.
Not respec your attribute.
Your stat points, yeah. Yeah, your attributes. Yeah.
And even then, the cost to refund or respec your perks is like 100,000, which is for a casual player a huge amount of money.
Right, and
if it helps,
yeah,
it's like your strength, dex, constitution. Like you can't change those, but you can change your proficiencies. You can change like arcane knowledge and that kind of shit. If you're a D&D nerd.
Yeah, exactly. And like I even went as far as I was like looking at Cheat Engine and trying to decide if I wanted to like download Cheat Engine and get into the fucking hex of Cyberpunk to alter my stats so that I could go do those side quests with like not necessarily a different character, but I guess a different character spec wise. And then I was like, I'll just wait till it's done, or till it's all fixed, and hopefully they address that. So I'll play through a lot of those side stuff when it comes out. But yeah, I think the systems, like at least tech, I think you have to look at those specs as like secondary specs, with the idea that by the end of that, I think you get 71 stat points if you go full max level. So then you can have 2 at level or 2 at 20, and then kind of whatever you want to do with the rest of those points. And I don't necessarily think tech was a full spec. However, that didn't stop me from just like breezing through the game. I found 2 legendary craftings and like my
what
gun.
Difficulty?
I was on hard. I wasn't on very hard.
Okay.
I don't know like how much. I think Co played on very hard, so he could speak to how much more it would have added in difficulty. But the AI was just like not there in a lot of cases, so I could just hide behind a wall with the smart pistol and just like shoot off to the side, and the bullets would just redirect to it. And yeah, like eventually the game like difficulty was just not there. But it didn't take away from the fact that like it was still driving, the story was still driving me to complete all of those objectives, right? But I think the gunplay and the second to second gameplay is one of the low points for the game. For my interest, that is someone purely playing from like a run and gun. I think having watched, I think the like best if there is a best way to play this, it's like going into the cool stuff, into the hacking stuff. I think that changes up a lot of those scenarios and it makes it more engaging. I just didn't play that way. So if I ever go back to it when they patch it, I'll probably go down that path. Because I saw a bunch of videos of just like really cool things that you can do. But for me, I had a gun that was very strong and I just shot everyone and they died. And I moved forward to the next quest. And that was fine. So yeah, I don't know. Those are kind of my long-winded thoughts on it. I think that there's a lot of different things to talk about it. So I'll stop talking there. And I'm interested to hear Zeke's thoughts on it. Cause you have not streamed at all. And I don't know if you've voiced your opinions on it all. So what are you thinking of the game?
Now this may sound like sacrilege, but it's just the general idea of how it feels to me. It feels kind of similar to when I picked up Ghost of Tsushima, in that I just like ran around and there was always like something popping up to fucking do. And that's exactly like what Cyberpunk feels like to me.
Popping issues, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Now that's something I did run into. Like, do people just appear and it's like magic?
Oh, it gets worse than that, dude. If you I saw a video last night, and I think this is true in a lot of open world games. And harping on the bugs of this game is like you fucking choose one out of a million. But if you go, Zeke, and cause a traffic accident or cause a traffic jam, and you just spin your character around, when you spin your character around, at least on the consoles, those cars are gone. They just disappear. If you go up in a crowd of people and shoot, yeah,
that's been an open world trick. Like, I watched a lot of speed running, and that's been an open world trick. Like, you turn around, like, I don't want that car.
Yeah.
All right. That car looks good. I'll get that car.
It just seems like it's dialed up to like 10 in this.
Okay.
Yeah. Like if you go up into a crowd of people and like shoot your gun and they all like, oh no, freak out. And you just spin around, they're gone when you spin. I never had that happen to me. And like, that's very nitpicky, but yeah, like it's weird to see that stuff. There's also no motorcycles because I don't think that there's actually people driving the cars. They're just cars. So you don't see anyone driving motorcycles, apparently.
Yeah, that is funny you mentioned that. I realized like I never see motorcycles on the road.
Yeah.
Like I see them like when you like do fights and stuff like that. They're left over by the gangs and stuff, but I don't remember ever seeing one on the road. That's so weird.
And for me, the driving, which was fine, but I never drove a car. Once I got onto a motorcycle, I was like, oh, this is the best way to get around to the city. It's so much better than driving a fucking car. Because a car can blow up. You can randomly stand up in the car and your ass cheeks are just flailing in the wind and like yeah.
Oh, that's what happened to me once. Like, I thought it was pretty funny. Like, I got mowed over by a car. I landed on the hood or landed on the roof of the van or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just like let it take me around. I was like, wow, all right, whatever, this works.
Yeah. Anyways, I started jibber
jabber. The thing I want to address though, as far as getting around goes, yes, the driving is great. It's fun and it's it's fast and all the cars react differently to how fast you're going, steering, braking, whatever. I really, really wish that there was an improvement on the parkour aspect. Like, it seems like it seems clunky. It doesn't seem like it's not smooth like it has been in other games that I played. Like, in other games, I feel like the buildings and the streets and stuff, they were set up in such a way that you could like just like jump and run and like like an animal, like a fucking you've seen those parkour videos.
Yeah.
A lot of games like felt like that. Cyberpunk doesn't feel like that. But maybe it's because I don't have double jump. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't have a certain skill yet.
Okay. Are you talking from?
I've only played like a couple hours. But like, I felt like there was such an opportunity, or there is such an opportunity in this game that didn't seem like it was taken advantage of from what I've played thus far. But if there is something that gives me that, then I will look for it. But like, I was like running around and stuff. I was like, I can definitely make that. Fuck. I'm gonna try it again.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about from like an animation perspective, but you're just saying from like an actual gameplay, like getting from point A to point B, you just want some more like parkour elements. Okay.
Exactly. So if the double jump thing happens, that's totally fine. I will shut up. But
it's expensive,
I
but
felt
yeah.
like it was like I didn't want to get a car. I wanted to go like as the crow flies, so to speak. I wanted to go straight line, but on foot.
Yeah.
And climb over buildings and stuff. Like I know I'm not Spider-Man. I don't have webs, but like I would like to at least to be like, was it Dying Light?
Yeah.
Is
I was just
thinking
thinking that.
Yeah. That was good parkour. Like that was good shit.
It's weird if you think about like open world games this year, because there's been a shit ton of them. So many of them from a movement and from a like getting from point A to point B perspective went down the Breath of the Wild path of like, you can climb anything and you have a stamina meter and like that. And Cyberpunk just like, nah, like it's just not going to do that whatsoever. And so that was definitely, I noticed that right away for sure, but I never really got out of my car. I was kind of just going from like point A to point B, or point A to side quest that pops up nonstop, that type of stuff.
I'm less of a driver, more of a climber. Like I definitely love that type of shit. One thing I wanted to circle back on that I forgot to, like, I wanted to break in with, sure. But what is, as far as respecking goes, what is the downside gaming wise to not allowing that?
I think it's
like,
to
have
have weight.
To be a reason, right?
It's to have weight on those decisions, is what I would say. Like
encourage more playthroughs.
Yeah, exactly. To encourage more playthroughs.
Okay.
Yeah, and for me, it and I think I can't speak for everyone.
Weak though.
Do what?
Seems like a weak reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think in today's day and age, it is somewhat of a.
He's again, for those that weren't here at the beginning, he's talking about respecing attributes,
stats, not perks. Yeah.
Yes. Perks you can respec for 100K.
Yeah.
We know. Thank you.
Yeah, I got told that.
Like,
I complained about that nonstop, and it was like, you can respec. It's like, well, you can't. Here's nonstop. What were you saying, Zeke?
Yeah. And perks are just that. They're little like tiny percentage things. I mean, sure, there's some really cool ones that allow you to do different moves.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like you can swing your sword 10% faster or something like that. Like, I would love to be able to go back and like take all of my points out of that and put it directly into tech or strength or body or whatever.
Yeah, like once you start to actually interface with all those systems and you start to realize like, what they actually do, I think that there should be a limited respec or just like constantly respec whenever.
And since you guys played all the way through it, do you think...
What was that?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Since you guys played all the way through it, do you think that a put all your or most of your stats into like one or two, or put all your points into one or two attributes is better, or like more well-rounded is better? Would you have gone back and done what?
I like the way it is, specifically because it makes you more like a class. Like some of the peripheral perks are really powerful. Especially like when you're talking about crafting and some of the hacking and stuff. So by limiting the amount that you can get, you kind of have more of a class. I think it would have been a lot more interesting. Like some games have where you're assigned like a title that give you extra abilities based on how many things you have. So it'd be really cool, for instance, if you got 20 int, and that made you like a net runner, and you got like perks to that. Or if you got 20 body, you became like an enforcer or something like that. And they could, of course, keep it in the Cyberpunk universe. But yeah, I think I like the idea of limiting what a player can get, because that way it feels like you're becoming a bit more special in some regards, and also heavily encourages replayability, which is always good as well. But I will say it's very strange when you go into a Ripper clinic and you can literally sub out the material under your skin, but not like decide where the muscle mass. You can actually replace the limbs on your body, but you can't move them from body to int. You can get computers implanted in your brain, but not get smarter.
I agree.
Like that part is a little weird. I think honestly, they should just go as far as dropping the respec of skills to 50K and putting one in for attributes for 50K. Done. And that way you can spend 100 and respec both, or spend 50 and respec one or the others.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little strange how they do it.
I am curious, and this ties into that same thing. What level did you finish the game for the first time at, Co? Do you remember? Because I want
to say it was like late 20s or early 30s. I'm 42 right now.
Okay. I was 23-ish, 24-ish when the credits rolled. And you get like probably a level or two in that, like, they give you one of those things where it's like, if you go on past this moment, the game's gonna end. So at that point,
somebody
I was
just brought up a
22.
somebody just brought up a good point in chat. Maybe it should be 50K to respec perks and then 100K for perks and
I don't.
attributes. Because the thing is, well, or just not remove. But the point is you can't just do attributes. Because if you remove your attribute to reset them, it has to refund all the perks.
That's true.
So it's not really an either or thing. It's a perks and then perks and stats.
Yeah.
So,
it's weird, man. That
maybe not even. I mean, it could be like 10K and 15K.
I think like
or
10K
5K and 10K.
Make it as cheap as you can, but like have some penalty. But like the money's easy to get by just going and doing things, but a lot of those things are not that exciting to do. And the fastest way to make money is by going and crafting items one by fucking one in their terrible system for crafting. Like, why is there not a craft X amount of a gun in that game? It's just simple things like that. Or why can you not go and like pick up a gun and it just automatically disassembles?
Well, that goes into like
it goes into a lot of systems, but
yeah, and I'll go into my stuff real quick.
Sure.
We only got
like 10 minutes. Go ahead.
So the thing about Cyberpunk is a game that got about 80% done, and it probably got about 80% done earlier this year. And at that point, somebody walked in and said, okay, here's the deal. We know this game's only like 80% done, maybe even a little less than that. But we're releasing this game at the end of the year. So stop what you're doing mechanically and just put everything to making this as release quality as possible. So cut to the end of the September. That same guy walks in and he's like, okay, how are we looking? And the team is like, we're not there yet. Like, not only is the game 80% done, but we have not even gotten close to getting this. And at that point, it probably didn't even run on consoles. You probably tried to run on consoles and they just caught on fire. So they were like, we need a little bit more time. So that's when it got pushed to December. And then December rolls around and the same guy walks in and he's like, okay, so how are we looking? And they're like, well, it's 80% done and we got it running on PCs, on high-end PCs.
Yeah, important.
The guy's like, what about consoles? And the dev just kind of went, eh. And then he's like, well, the shareholders will literally kill me if we don't release this. So I guess we're going to do it. And we're just going to deal with the bad PR. And the part that's super unfortunate about this is that last part, especially where it's like, we're just going to deal with the bad PR. It's kind of conspiratorial to think about it, but the fact that they didn't let console copies go out for the review process kind of means that's probably exactly what they were thinking. They probably were like, we know this isn't good enough, but we're still going to do it because we have to. Like, in their minds, they can't delay it again. It has to go out the door. We know it's not good enough. We're just, it's kind of like we're going to beg forgiveness instead of, ask permission for another delay, essentially.
Yeah.
So then what we end up with is this game that's out now. And here is my whole Cyberpunk thing. I'll TLDR it as much as I can here. Cyberpunk is a really good game that's about, like I said, 80% complete. Some parts of the game are phenomenal. Night City as a world map and like a location is incredible. Like, it is one of the biggest, coolest sci-fi environments I've ever run through. The main story is pretty great, just like you said, when it works. Yeah. The side quests, there's some phenomenal side quests and lines that you can work through that are entertaining and interesting and are high quality and good. But almost every part of the game is touched in that 80% way. Like, even the stuff that works the best doesn't quite work perfectly. The bugs are always there. The police system is non-existent. And that's where this thing happens, where it's like they just told him to wrap it up. Whatever you're doing, just wrap it up. There was supposed to be like a bounty system and all this cool stuff involving the police. What happens now? You shoot a policeman a few times, you run away, they disappear. You don't, they spawn around you. The actual most basic police system I think I've ever seen in any game. Again, indicative of them just going, just put something in. Yeah. Just put something in. Like, we don't have time to make anything. Just put something in.
We made these damn stars. Make them work.
Yeah, just put something in. Yeah.
My question is, if I could break in real quick, my question is, like, who does CD Projekt Red, like, answer to? as far as deadline goes?
The problem here
Do we
is that
know?
the devs needed more time. The devs needed more time to make this game. The company promised a release date that for the scope of the project was simply too ambitious. It's an extremely ambitious game, and they told people, most importantly, the people that were giving them money, the people they were beholden to, they told them things that were simply not feasible for the scope of the game. Period. That's what it comes down to. So it's the shareholders. The shareholders demanded, because you got to remember, a lot of the people that put money into projects like Cyberpunk don't play video games. They don't care how good the game is. They care about getting their money back, and in some cases more than they gave. It's all they care about. That's how this stuff works, especially when you're as big as CD Projekt Red. So they don't care how much the devs are frustrated that the game's going out in the state it is. They don't care if the game needs more time. The game needs to get out when they were told, end of story, because that's what they were told. Period. And then of course you factor in the COVID stuff and everything else. But anyway, back to what I was saying. The main story is great. The map is great. Some of the voices and characters, phenomenal. It's like there's stuff inside. The backbone of Cyberpunk is top notch. But then, unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that was going to make it special, a lot of the stuff that was going to make it a game of the year, a lot of the stuff that was going to make it like the game is either half formed or simply not there. Like we were supposed to get this super cool NPC immersive system in the city. Anywhere you look, you can see corners cut.
Yeah.
Be it from pop-in of things going around corners, the AI not working properly, where there's even AI. You know, you stand in front of a character and they just like will do the same like emote like every 30 seconds endlessly. Like again, just put something in the game. Just put something in the game. The cars, there's not even really a car AI system. That like you back up and you can see cars backing up, but they just never appear. Again, the police system non-existent. Enemy AI is kind of half-assed. There's no cosmetic system. They have one of the coolest, most verbose systems to make your character look cool. Tons of graphics, tons of interesting things to put on your character. Yet to level up effectively, you have to look like a drunk college clown school dropout on meth.
Yeah.
Just to get anywhere statistically.
That broke me.
Even before you get there, the character creation on something like when I look around the city, I'm like, that body mod, where is it in character creation?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I know.
Like facial
I thought
tattoo. Where the fuck is that?
There's no way to change your hair. There's no way to change your hair. You can swap out literally your eyeballs, and there's no way to change your hairstyle. Yeah. There's no tattoo artist. They like put tattoos in for like special quests that you have to go to a Ripper Doc to do. But I mean, there's people covered in tattoos everywhere. Anyway, before I hear again, I'm having a great time with the game. I'm one of the people that can focus on the good parts. I'm running through my 100%. I've got like a super awesome stealth pistol. I'm literally shooting people in the head for 80,000 points of damage sneaking around. I've got a badass smart explosive SMG. I've got a freaking laser cannon that can blast through walls. I'm a hacker man's like from Johnny Mnemonic. I'm having a great time, but it's just because I'm focusing on what I like in the game. And there's stuff in the game that is so good, but there's also all this stuff that's just so bad, or just reminders of broken promises and all this other stuff. And the thing is like, you can't really get mad at people. Yeah, there's no flashlight. There's like tons of dark areas. Yeah. There's no flashlight.
That's true.
There's not even night vision. Like
in Cyberpunk.
Come on, man. Actually, where's my cyber flashlight? Like Jesus, dude.
Is there a Quest sniper rifle that has night vision attached to the visor? Do you know what
you go diving at one point and he carries a flashlight when he's diving. And it's like, man, I had to go under the earth to get light controllable in a source.
I didn't know that.
Easy fix. Instead of the peen poking through the pants, make it a flashlight.
Yeah.
Done.
There you go.
Anyway, and here's the thing. Again, if you focus on the good parts, it's a fun game. Like, you know, I've got double jump now. I'm full of implants. I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying it. But I got to tell you this. I cannot wait for the patches in this game. I'm going to pour over every one with like a fine-tooth comb, being like, what are you adding? What are you putting in? How are you stepping forward? There was a CD Projekt shareholders call that was made public a few days ago. And what they said in the call is like, our priority right now is restoring consumer confidence. We're going to do what we need to do to make this game something that everyone can be proud of. And it's like, good, because that's exactly what you need to do right now. Like at this point, we have moved from people absolutely like we are looking forward to this, we can't wait, to even the people like me who are really enjoying it. acknowledge there's huge flaws that they need to fix. Like they need to fix. Not quite to the degree, but where CDPR right now is kind of where Bethesda is where 76 was released.
Totally.
Where it's like, okay, you've released something that has major, major, major problems. And what Bethesda did was they sat on their ass and didn't do anything for like 6 months. And they lost most of their major fans. And they basically turned into a meme. So now it's CDPR's thing. It's like, okay, you've still got some of us. You've still got some of us who are like, you still believe in this project. You can save this. Show us what you can do. But it's the kind of thing where in like 6 months to a year, like if consoles still can't run the game, if there's no meaningful like improvements, if a lot of those broken promises turn out to be like in a charged DLC or something down the road, like that's when it's that. Yeah, I know.
Man, I know that so bad right now.
Oh my god, like that's when it's going to be like, well, yeah. So the best way to say it is the ball's in their court, man. Like at this point, the onus is on them. The release was a deficit, and they now have to like make that up. We know what happens when you don't do it right. You become a Bethesda.
Yeah.
So it's like, are they going to go the route of that, or are they going to step up and hopefully be the company that many of us think they are, and like actually pull out of this pit that they've put themselves in?
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, that for me has been probably the most remarkable thing. If you think about, these the cycles of like companies losing and gaining faith for the past 8 years, I guess is long is how long this has been in development and been talked about, 7 or 8 years. Like I feel like it's however long it's been in development. Let's just say that
it's been in heavy development for like 4+ years. I've
Sure.
been corrected about that recently a lot.
Okay, let's just go with that. However many years it's been, 4, 7, 8, whatever. There's been like this meteoric rise for CDPR, right? Like the Witcher Netflix series, all of this stuff, just like crazy,
huge expectations,
huge. They were sitting at the top of video gaming mountain. This game comes out, and seemingly overnight, someone went up there and fucking pushed them off of it, and they're still falling all the way goddamn down to hell. Like they're going all the way down there. It's crazy to see.
This is a good way to say it. This is one of the best ways you can say it. At this point, there's 2 directions they can go. They can go Bethesda and like fail their base, or they can go Owlcat and literally like victory champion themselves out of this. Like Owlcat is a great example of releasing a product that is nearly unplayable, and then over 6 months they turned that into one of the best CRPGs on the market.
I don't know, man. Like I feel like they've already lost a large. I think
with console players especially.
Yeah, dude.
The console players, especially that and the way that they felt misled. That's going to be something that is going to be really hard for them to pull out of.
Totally,
really hard. For PC players and people like us, like a lot, we're in a different boat in that regard. But I mean, there's people that like saved up for months so they could pre-order their copy of Cyberpunk, and then to have this happen, and then to have the Cyberpunk guys announce refunds. So they go to Sony to get a refund, and Sony's like, "We're not refunding this." Yeah, like that was again. They're in a pit, and they need to figure out how to dig themselves out of it. Like even as a diehard CDPR fan, that's just the reality of the situation. I really, really hope they can do it.
Yeah,
still have faith. I still have faith. Like again, there's a huge amount more good stuff in Cyberpunk than 76, and I truly feel that most of the good stuff, or most of the stuff in Cyberpunk, can be patched. The foundation is there. Like all of the main components are there. They just need to be fleshed out. In some cases, added or fixed.
Yeah.
Like come on, CDPR, don't let us down, guys. Please don't let us down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of work to be done. We didn't even touch on like the outside of the game conversation around crunch, because like that is a monumental thing to discuss. Man. To discuss around that whole situation. And like, I feel like every morning, at least since 2 or 3 days since before this game came out, every morning I wake up to like some new fiasco that they have. This morning it was the GOG thing where like they had there was a Taiwan developed game that was like being put onto GOG, and then it got removed at the last second because gamers raised their voice. And it's like, did gamers raise their voice or did China raise their voice? Like,
yeah, I didn't. I wanted to get more info on this. I heard about this right at the end of my morning stream and wasn't able to follow up on it. But
yeah. Yeah. It's just like,
I think that was about devotion. I don't know
yeah,
what's going on.
yeah,
with
that's the name of it. Devotion. Yeah. Yeah. So like that, I haven't read the whole story there, but like, it's been a tough week. Stocks are plummeting, like for real. The stock of CDPR has plummeted.
Let's hope this is a redemption arc. Let's hope
Start
this
of it, I
isn't a
guess,
downward
yeah.
spiral. Let's hope it's a redemption arc. It's going to be up to those guys to make it happen.
Yeah.
I know the devs want nothing more than to do it, but it's going to be, you know, up to a lot more people than just that, unfortunately.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's just, when you think about those old consoles, if that's the major focus, like, at what point are they just like, those are old consoles? Like, those are old consoles.
Honestly, that is, I mean,
like,
don't get me wrong.
PS5s are out and not buyable, but they're out. So,
what they should have done at this point, realistically, what they should have done is 4 months ago said, look, we're only doing next gen.
Totally.
Sorry, we're going to refund you if you're on PS4, Xbox. We're only doing next gen.
Yeah.
Like, especially after seeing even the best of the old console stuff, they can't optimize it enough. They've done too much to the engine. It's like, don't get me wrong. I love you if you're on these previous gens. Like, this isn't a slight against you. It's just
totally, yeah,
getting you what you're paying for. Like, it's just, it's almost unfeasible. They should just either give them all like refunds on the other consoles or free upgrades as soon as possible. Or, man, I don't know. It's just, man,
it's a nightmare. It is.
I really hope that we're going to be talking more favorably about it in the future, man. Because I mean, again, there's so much good stuff in it. There's so much good stuff in that game. Like, there's some incredible quest lines. There's one quest line in particular that had me feeling things I had never felt in a game. Like, the entire quest line, I'm just going, are we really going to do this? Is this really happening?
Oh,
like, is this?
How do I? Were nails involved?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I seriously was just like, no way. Like, I had this like weird half surprised smile on my face the entire time. Just like, they actually really.
Yeah. I didn't play that. I saw that played on a stream and I was still kind of like, what the fuck? Like, yeah.
I mean, it didn't make me too cross. I thought they nailed it.
Nice. That's him. Don't yell at me for potential spoil. That was Co. That wasn't me. I just said the word now. He went the full Monty.
Yeah.
I mean, before anybody gets there, I think it's crucial to fix what they need to fix. It's a crucial fix. Crucial fix.
There you go. Yeah.
That was good. It took me a second.
I haven't even got to the part and I fucking know what you're hinting at.
Yeah. It was a wild quest. And there are quests in that game where the dialogue like legitimately had me thinking I was applying what they were saying to my own life and was like, wow, like that's okay.
Dude, there are some excellent gigs. Like that's what I'm doing now is I'm basically running around the entire map doing the gigs and stuff. And there's some really cool gigs. There are ones that like are super kind of like, whoa, what the hell? There's ones that will make you think about like what it means to be human and what it means to be like a part of this world. And, you know, like what does it mean if you're like mostly machine? What if you get turned into a machine you don't want to? Like, there's all this super interesting stuff that happens. It's just, you know, they got to polish the journey and getting there. So it's like an enjoyable experience. But yeah, man, like I'll say it again. And I know this is not a popular thing right now. CDP, this game could be a masterpiece in a year. And I really, really hope that we're saying that it is, man. I want nothing more than for this game to be realized. I feel like it's the best expression I can say is diamond in the rough. Like it is, there's so much good stuff in here, but it just, man, does it need a polishing. Another big thing that could be a big problem. I really hope they don't start talking about that multiplayer thing until
right? That's
another thing. Like no DLC talk, no talk of this multiplayer thing, like nothing until Cyberpunk is like significantly better.
Yeah. I'll be real honest, and then we'll do some shout outs. I know this is apples to oranges in comparison. After playing 34 hours or something like that of Cyberpunk and then going and playing the Call of Duty single player, Cyberpunk shooting is pretty bad, you guys. Like, I don't know how to say it any other way. Like it is not good when it comes to
that makes me super glad I went sword.
My next playthrough is melee. I don't mind the gunplay. It certainly doesn't. I've done worse gameplay or gunplay for sure. But then again, I haven't done too many weapons, so maybe I need to try more.
Yeah, I've heard mixed reports on the melee. Like I've heard people say like, oh, the melee is really good, and then other people say like, the melee's like not that great. I did hear someone
using like smart guns and stealth pistols and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I don't know. It works for what I need.
A bit like Skyrim for me.
Okay.
The melee.
Sure. Okay. Someone compared it to Dying Light, and I think Dying Light has like one of the best melee weapon stuff and like an open world game. Is that true, Zeke? Would you equate the two at all?
No, I'd say it's more like open world, a little bit clunky, like like the Bethesda, like the Elder Scrolls games. It's like you're like ha, and you're like backing up. At least that's what I'm doing. I'm like ha, and then I'm like running away. I'm not using any like the dodge system or the block system. I'm just like ha, blah, like that kind of shit.
He's a left Larry chat.
It's more haphazard.
Okay, gotcha. Anyways, I'm sure this discussion will spill over into next week's episode.
We'll be talking about this more over the coming months for sure.
Are we all good? That's the day before Christmas Eve next Wednesday. I can't go anywhere until the 1st, so I'm good. I don't know if you guys are good.
I think.
Okay. All right. And then
I will say it does seem if the parry system seems like if you mastered it, it's totally fucking broken.
That's
which I won't. I don't care for it.
Right?
I don't care.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. Funny enough, I actually forgot about the tutorial where they tell you about the parry system, and I just never because I never needed to.
Way, like I didn't use it. I don't use it with my sword, but I did use it for the boxing matches. Like it's imperative. It was imperative that I learned how to fucking counter in a boxing match. But if it's just open world shit, I'm just like, and I run around the building and get him in the back. Yeah.
For me, my combat breaking thing was kind of typical. I found a sniper rifle that had 4 bullets and it crit for 20,000 whenever I headshot, and I used that for 80% of the game, and never had any issues. So, yeah, it was pretty good, and it got replaced with an even better sniper from a quest. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about there, because that's even more OP. But yeah,
tech sniper rifles are just broken, but I mean in a beautiful way. Like smart guns are kind of broken in a beautiful way. Hacking is kind of broken in a beautiful way. So.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, that game is like making a broken character. Like that's
sort of. It's kind of the power fantasy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, we gotta do some shout outs. We're a little bit over. I think this conversation will probably maybe even do like a spoiler cast next week, depending on where Zeke's at. No rush or anything, obviously, but we'll see where he's at story wise and maybe talk about some of that stuff.
See what I can do.
Yeah, let's do some shout outs. Zeke, start us off.
Yo, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Ezekiel the Third. You can find me at /Ezekiel_III. Just like that on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. What am I doing today? Well, today I'm going to be on twitch.tv/ClassicKatie, who's the most beautiful, wonderful, and amazing, funny, hilarious, intelligent streamer on Twitch.
He never forgets.
Nice.
Ever. And I never forget to mention.
Nice.
I will be on her stream later. We're going to be doing some sort of makeup stuff on our on our show that we have lovingly titled Rough Specs, like Rough SFX. I'm not sure what she's chosen. She asked for suggestions, so I'm going into this without any ideas of what I'm going to be made up to look like. I could be a giant penis. Who knows? But yeah, that'll be in about 50 minutes from now, give or take. But then tomorrow, if I will be. Hopefully, I think I'm close to finishing it at one more stream of Shadowrun Returns, which is, I'm surprised at how good that game is for being, I mean, it's only 7 years old, but 7 years is a long time in gaming. So
true.
It's really, really good. The writing is really good. The environments are awesome. I'm having such a good time. So if you want to come out, that's what's happening tomorrow, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific. Thanks, Co. Thanks, JP. All I got.
Some stuff. Typically, this would be the week where I'd be talking about jumping into a Path of Exile League, but there's not. And there's not till the 15th, and there's no game releases till the 15th. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing. Maybe I'm going to jump into Yakuza. I feel like I should at least look at that game somewhat for Game of the Year discussions.
It's good.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw Rami's tweets about him. Did you see those tweets about the Chapter 14 or Chapter 12 boss or something like that?
Oh, that boss is infamous.
Yeah. That type of stuff really grinds my gears. So we'll see. I don't think it's gonna put me off from playing it, but we might jump into Yakuza tomorrow and see what that's all about, because we don't really have anything to play till Path of Exile because there's no more games out. Is there any other games that we should play as a group, or at least look at as a group for Game of the Year stuff? Is there anything on like outlying that you guys think? We didn't talk about Immortals at all. Should we be looking at that, Co?
That game is awesome.
Should I like look at that game for
Immortals,
5 minutes?
Immortals, Phoenix Immortals Rising or whatever, Phoenix Rising, whatever it is.
Yeah,
it's cool. Like it's a lot of fun. I'm having significantly more fun in that game than I did Assassin's Creed.
Okay, we'll talk about that next week. Maybe you can sell me on that. Is there anything else? Zeke? Anything indie?
My outro card.
Do what?
You skipped my outro.
Oh, did we?
Yeah,
Oh,
you totally did.
totally did.
Wait, don't even worry.
We're still finishing this. Anything
Oh,
else?
you know where to find me. 6:39 for Cyberpunk. See you next week.
There you go. See?
Did you guys?
Oh,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Okay, done.
Yeah, great. What were we gonna say, Zeke?
I picked up. I totally went under the radar, but Spelunky 2. Like I totally forgot about that until I saw someone tweet about it. I was like, oh shit, yeah, Spelunky was awesome. I wonder if this one is good. So I downloaded it. I haven't played any of it yet, or I played one session of it, but
all right.
I remember the first one was really good.
It's out for Switch now, right? I think that was announced yesterday.
Yeah,
like that.
1 and 2 are on Switch, I believe.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll be back next week with another episode. We'll have a bunch of games to catch up on. Immortals, we'll talk about that. We'll probably talk about some more Cyberpunk stuff. Hopefully the fucking news stops. Hopefully they just stop the news for that entire thing. Stop the count. And we'll discuss that some more. And yeah, Call of Duty campaign. Zeke's played a bunch of indie stuff as well as probably jump into a little bit more of the game he just mentioned in his outro. Because I remember that being somewhat fun as well when I played it. So we'll do all that and more next week. Thanks for joining us. We're out of here. We'll see you next week on another episode of Drop Frames. Have a good one. Bye-bye.